Welcome, welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Inktober, which is just a few days away. So I'm going to be talking about ways to prepare for Inktober so you give yourself the best chance possible for getting through to the end. Because let's face it, many people start the challenge, not everyone makes it through to the end. Let's get into it. So for anybody that doesn't know, Inktober is a challenge to create art during every day of October using a list of prompts. And I think it's a really good challenge to do if you're wanting to improve your art because it gets you into the habit of doing a little bit of art every day. So first of all, you're going to want to decide which prompt list you're going to use. Now, the main place to look for those is on Instagram, especially if you're looking for the most up-to-date lists out there. And you can, of course, go with the official Inktober list, but there's also a lot of other types for just about every kind of interest you can think of. I'm personally going to be going with Calmtober, which is prompts for every other day in October. The part that I probably don't need to tell you to do is to shop for supplies. Let's face it, we all love getting hold of those. And contrary to what some purists will tell you about Inktober, you can use any supplies. Micron pens are a classic favourite because of their fine lines and waterproof ink. But you could also use something like a dip pen, brush pens, fine liners, or any kind of paint. If it helps, think of it as Arttober or any of the other names that have sprung up rather than Inktober. But you don't need any of those fancy supplies to take part. All you need is this, just a simple pen. I was going to call it biro, that's what we tend to call pens here in the UK. It's just a ballpoint pen, just a standard normal pen. And I have seen amazing artwork made with just this and any normal kind of paper that you like. This, for instance, is a sketchbook that cost me £1 from the range. And of course, just a cheap pen to go with it. And you can create amazing things just with that. And don't be afraid to apply paint to a cheap sketchbook like this. It's not going to react in the same way. Of course, it's going to crinkle up and the paint won't move around in the way that it would on watercolor paper, for example, but that doesn't mean you can't put it on there. Try it. Just try it out and see what happens. Sometimes cheaper sketchbooks can actually encourage you to make better art because you're not afraid of messing up your fancy supplies. The next step is to organise your supplies, and that's going to be pretty simple if you're just using a pen and a sketchbook. But if you're a mixed media artist or you already have a lot of supplies on hand, it's time to have a look at them and decide which ones you're going to be using. See if there's any prep you need to do, for example, sharpening your pencils ahead of time. And crucially for this challenge, make sure you know which supplies you're going to be taking with you to make art on the go. Because unless you plan on spending the entire month at home, the only way you're going to get through the challenge is by doing at least some of this art while you're out and about. For example, on a train journey or during your lunch break at work or school. If you weigh down your bag with too many supplies, it's going to make you want to give up. So decide on a small kit that's going to be just enough for what you need. Now, as somebody who works primarily with water-soluble materials, my go-to things to take with me are a water brush, a little water spray bottle, either a rag or a packet of tissues, and then, if I'm keeping it light, a ruler, a pencil with an eraser at the end, and a waterproof pen. If I've got space for a few more things, then I will take a few brushes. But you can actually get these in a set from Winsor & Newton. These are the Cotman brushes. and that is a flat brush, and then we've got 3 sizes of round brushes. They're all quite small, so sometimes I might take a big chunky one like this as well. These are only if I've got more space and I don't mind a little bit of extra weight. But this is actually enough. You can get these in different sizes as well, but if you get a medium-sized one, then it will kind of do for most of what you're needing to do. And then you can put this together into a pencil case. So I put my 4 main brushes in there, along with my other bits. I always keep these things together. I don't think that one fits. I keep these things together, and then I know I can just throw that into my bag along with my paints, and these are usually already in my bag. And then of course you need your sketchbook as well, or whatever paper you're going to be drawing or painting on. So have a think about what your essentials are for making art on the go. The next tip is to prepare your references in advance. Now, lots of artists do this on Pinterest, which is a great tool for creating pin boards based around different subjects. So you can see here that I've set up a board already based on the Inktober prompts. So if you want those, I've already done the work, and there is a link in the comments with a link to that. But Pinterest has an issue, which is that the images on it may be copyrighted. If you're thinking that you might end up selling your work and so you're worried about the copyright, I would recommend trying either Pixabay or Pexels instead. If you can, try to get ahead with your chores and any non-art tasks, catching up with friends perhaps, anything like that, so that you can spend more time with your art once you start the challenge and less time doing these other things. It won't get you through the whole month, of course, but it'll give you a little bit of a boost. Think about whether there's anything you normally do before you create a piece that you can do in advance. For instance, some people like to create a thumbnail sketch, so you might do all of those in advance. Or other people like to throw a little bit of paint down on the page just so that it doesn't feel like a daunting blank page. And if so, you could do all of that in advance. So here's one thing that you need to know going in. And I've just put a bit of footage of my cat here because I've run out of things to show you. Okay, so here's what you need to know. Even with all of your preparation, you might still fall off the bandwagon. Life happens, things get in the way, and you might stumble for a day or two. But it's not a failure so long as you get back on the bandwagon. So go into it knowing that it might happen and planning to carry on again as soon as you can. You'll still learn something from it, and you'll still get something out of it. You'll still get to the end of it feeling a sense of achievement, so long as you don't just stop altogether. Don't do this with an all or nothing mindset. The creators of the official Inktober prompt list recommend that you do this challenge alongside a buddy. So you find yourself a buddy who wants to do this as well, and you message each other and keep in touch and keep each other motivated. An accountability buddy, yeah. So if you can find one of those, I definitely suggest that you do that. If you can't, then you'll have to try and stay motivated in other ways. So I would suggest that you continually watch YouTube videos when you can about other people doing Inktober, or look at Instagram and see the results of other people on their Inktober journeys, just so that you feel like you're part of a community doing it, even if you don't have somebody to actually message with. Other than that, just have fun, enjoy the challenge, and don't compare yourself to anyone other than a past version of you. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. The first thing you need to do is decide your prompt list. There's a lot of different ones out there. The one I'm going to be going with is called Calm. Oh crap, my cat's joining me. Oh God. Oh God, he's knocking everything off.